Hey everyone, and welcome back to Exposed, Scandalous Files of the Elite. I'm your host, Jim Chapman. So I want you to quickly imagine that you're a 13-year-old girl, or you're the parents of a 13-year-old girl. You go to school and you hear about an image of you that is being passed around the school, completely nude. You even see the image for yourself. It looks like you, at least the face does, but one problem. You've never taken a nude photo for anyone, so you instantly are laughed at, you're made fun of by everyone throughout the day, and you do the right thing. You report it to the principal. You are so mortified, in fact, that you also go to the guidance counselor later on in the day, and you ask to call your dad, only to be told no. Then the day finally ends, and you're placed on a school bus where that same 13-year-old male pulls the image up on his phone and starts showing it to other students on the bus. Humiliated, you slap the boy on the top of his head, the only defense it seemed you had at this point, and for that, you are expelled from school for the rest of the year. Sound unbelievable? Well, it happened in Lafourche Parish, Louisiana, when a 13-year-old girl became the victim of a new technology called deepfaking. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to go through the chain of events from the attorneys for the victims in this case and what they say about the use of AI images of this girl that led to this expulsion. And it's important to mention these are allegations from the defense team of this young lady. At 10 o'clock a.m., the victim in this case, she goes to the office and she reports there's an AI-generated naked picture of her being shown amongst some students, mostly, if not all, boys. And she also reports that these images were being shown on Snapchat. The principal goes to the SRO of the school, that's the school resource officer for 6th Ward Middle School in Lafourche Parish, which these SROs, y'all, they're police officers, so keep that in mind. She goes to this law enforcement officer, she tells him what this 13-year-old girl said, and basically tells him, according to the defense, quote, "I reported this to you, so at this point, it's out of my hands." So the SRO, in turn, he goes to Snapchat. He looks, and he doesn't see any pictures, and he actually says that. So there's no follow-up investigation, no questioning of this 13-year-old girl beyond what's already been said, nothing. So already you have two major issues of note here. First is the principal. She gets the report, and let's put this into perspective. You have a report here to the principal of the school regarding child pornography, period. And let me tell you how serious this is in the state of Louisiana. Louisiana revised statute states any person with deepfake pornographic images depicting a minor or knowingly creates said image shall be punished with imprisonment of no less than 5 years and no more than 20 years without parole or suspension of sentence. They take it very serious. And the statute defines a minor as anyone under the age of 18. This girl, 13, clearly a minor. And it basically goes on to define what pornographic images are, with one section of this stating the exhibition of the pubic or rectal area, which is what you have here, incidentally. Now, you would think that considering the seriousness of this, the principal would not just turn this over to an SRO and wash her hands of it. She certainly would report that to the SRO, but what the hell are you doing saying it's in your hands now, I'm over it? But according to the attorney for the victim in this case, that's what happened. Now, at that point, the SRO investigates, and according to the victim's attorney, his or her investigation was limited to looking at Snapchat, which is WTF, right? everybody knows, or everybody should know, that you can send Snapchat images to friends and they're not going to appear on your public story, which was what was done here, allegedly. So the day goes on. But according to the victim, the bullying continued. And primarily, it consisted of this group of boys who had seen the pics and they were making fun of her. And I'm going to quote the attorney here. This is not my quote. This is his quote. They were apparently making fun of her bush, which was AI generated and unkempt, if you will. So at this point, she goes to the guidance counselor and she asks the guidance counselor to call her dad, allegedly. And I would presume to pick her up from school. She's mortified. I mean, think about this, y'all. This is not funny. But the guidance counselor tells her no. And according to the attorneys, her quote was, "We don't need to get parents involved right now." Which, if that's true, if that's what this guidance counselor said, it is absolutely shocking to me. I would lose my shit if that were my daughter. So end of the day comes and this kid is put on the same bus as the boy that was showing these photos to everybody. Think about that. And allegedly, he was still showing these pictures on the damn bus. Now, there's some, I don't know if I call them conflicting reports. There was an initial report where the girl at this point had had enough. She stands up and she kind of swats. I'm going to say swat. It wasn't a slap. It was more of a swats the boy on the back of the head, to which he almost doesn't move. It was, barely a swat. And at that point, what does the school do? They expel the girl. They expel the girl. Let me say that again. They expel the girl. Now, there is another report that it came out that said there were actually two boys that were apparently also offended by this other boy showing the picture, and they supposedly hit this kid as well, which he's only 13. Everybody's only 13, 14 years old that are involved in this. But the boy wasn't hurt. It was a very minor fight, to say the least. But no tolerance policy for fighting on the bus. They expel the girl. As a matter of fact, the boy in this situation, the one that was passing around the child pornography, which is what this is defined as, his discipline consisted of having to transfer schools. And now would be a great time to tell y'all that this incident went down on August 26th of this year. And the public did not find out about this en masse until mid-November. And why is that important? Because to me, it's a reflection that had her family just accepted this expulsion and not pressed the issue, it would have never become an issue. Now, in November, middle of November, when this came out, it became a political emergency of sorts. And the major screw-ups in this case got exposed. Make no mistake, there were a lot of screw-ups here. So this brings me to attorney Matt Ory. Now, to tell you a little bit about him, he got his law degree in 2007 from Loyola, New Orleans, and he focuses primarily on criminal defense. His law firm is based out of, I believe, Thibodaux, Louisiana. Now, he plays an important role in this case, and we're going to get to that in just a minute. But I do want to mention, when this family saw their daughter's grades start slipping, she got expelled, and she basically at that point gets placed in an alternative school. It's kind of like a school for bad kids. So when she went to this school, her grades started slipping big time. She had decent grades, made good grades when she was in regular school, but she gets placed in this alternative school and those grades just go to shit. And her parents are like, we need to get her back in regular school before it really hurts her to, puts her in a place she can't get out of. As I said, this was a good student. She was really suffering academically. So they instituted the help of several attorneys, most notably Greg Miller and the guy I just told you about, Matt Ory. Now, by this point, Matt Ory had become very prominent due to his defense and representation of former LSU running back Kyron Lacey. For those of you not familiar, this was a LSU running back who was going to the NFL. He tragically killed himself after allegedly causing a car accident many months prior, in which an individual was killed. His attorney, Matt Ory, very vocal on this. And there's a lot of questions as to whether Kyron Lacey kind of became the victim of a witch hunt once you see the video and all of that from this wreck. But that's for a whole nother podcast. The long and short of it here is Ory is a very capable and very fiery attorney. So getting back to November this year, a school board meeting gets held. And on that agenda is a vote on whether this girl will be allowed back into regular school. And attorneys are present, including Matt Ory. So in this school board meeting, Ory, he lets it rip, man. And I'm going to play for you the clip of Matt Ory in this school board meeting so you can get an idea of the 13-year-old's side of this and her defense. So I'm going to play that for you now. Listen to this.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on here, I'll be quite frank, is nothing more than disgusting. We spent a lot of time, 10 minutes, talking about due process. You don't even need to talk about that here. Let's talk about the bare bone facts of what happened. You had a child. Stand up. Where you at? Stand up. That girl, her image was taken by artificial intelligence and manipulated and manufactured to be child pornography. Child pornography, sir. She went to you guys. She went to the school. She asked them for help. She was denied. She then asked to talk to her father, to call her father, because she was being made fun of. She was denied. And then they thought it'd be a good idea to put her on the bus. So here's what we know. We have a kid, undoubtedly, whose images were taken, manipulated, and manufactured of child pornography by a student at that school. The mere allegation alone should be enough to never put them on the same bus that day. This is my business. This is what I do every single day. People are charged with crimes. Many are not guilty and many are guilty. But you know what you don't do the same day? Put them in the same room, especially after a lack of an investigation. Do you realize what you guys are about to do? Each and every one of you has kids, and your kid comes home crying because a student took her image, manipulated that image, and made it look as if she had now pubic hair in her private area. She's getting made fun of all day. She comes to you crying, and now you got to explain to her, hey, daughter, look, I'm sorry that the school, the people that are supposed to help you did not help you. They didn't do their job. And I got to punish them because they took action after the same videos and images are being shown on the bus again of her? You guys okay with that? What world are we living in now? How are you going to tell that? You're going to do that with your daughter? Your daughter gets that done to her. You guys okay with that? You know what's amazing? The district attorney here, she didn't find that Ivy was a perpetrator. They declined charges. They will not. They have adamantly said they will never charge that little girl with battery. You know why? Because it's justified. She asked for help, not once, not twice. She is the victim. And now you took her out of school and suspended her? Expelled her? And now her grades have plummeted? You took that from her. You have a chance right now to make it back. So no, I don't need due process. That alone, you have enough. It is not enough to say, we investigated, but we really didn't. You investigated, what was that? You didn't even talk to him. You didn't find an image. I bet you didn't. It's Snapchat. It disappears. You did that one day. But you guys want that girl to be expelled from this school in her childhood, potentially robbed. Do you know what it's like every day to be made fun of? Do you know what it's like every day? This is how kids become suicidal. This right here. And you guys are saying it's okay. So here's the message. Guys, guess what? Create all the images you want. Tarnish someone's reputation. Destroy them. And when they retaliate, we're going to do nothing to that person. We're going to expel them. We're going to expel the victim. And you can do it again, and again, you guys see what's wrong with this? I don't need due process. I need you guys. I don't care what happened with Mr. Amity. No disrespect, Mr. Amity, over the last 25 years. We're now in 2025. Things have changed. This is your chance. I know it's not the norm. I get it, right? Never in a million years you're going to buck the recommendation. I'm asking you to now. She's already been out of school enough. Her grades have plummeted on where she's now placed, and they weren't plummeted before. She is a victim. She is a victim. And ask yourself if that happened to your daughter or your daughter or your daughter, how you feel. And they get expelled because they show up to school, and all of a sudden, someone is disseminating pictures of her naked image. It's not her. And that's okay. Sorry, Ivy. I'm sorry you got expelled for this. So no, I'm not as friendly as Ben. I am disgusted with what happened. There was no investigation. And that is the new message. That is the new message we're sending here. Nothing I said is not factual. Could be a lot more. You don't even need it. Here's that. What you know is what I told you. Someone else created an image. She got made fun of all day. She asked for help not once, but twice. Then they put her on the bus. The guy does it again, which they have seen. We had to give them the pictures of what was being shown, and he wouldn't stop. So what do? That pissant fight that you saw, and she's expelled? That girl did exactly what you're supposed to do, right? Exactly what you're supposed to do. Self-defense has evolved in this world. Now there's a cyber self-defense. So ask yourself, as you do publicly deliberate in your decision, what would you do if that was your kid? What would you do? You're going to say, sorry, babe, I know you worked hard, you love school, but someone else generated a picture of you and you took action because they wouldn't and they expelled you. That's not right. I don't care what happened in the last 25 years. That is not right. That is one of the biggest injustices I have ever seen in my career of what's going on right here. So what I'm asking you guys is to take action. I know it's hard. I know it may not seem like the right thing to do, but you are setting dangerous precedent by doing anything other than putting her back in school. Put her where she belongs. She didn't do anything wrong. Nothing wrong. So I respectfully ask each and every one of you to take this very seriously. And remember, put yourself in your child's shoes and ask yourself, is this right? Is it right? Because it's not. Mr. Martin, I mean no disrespect to you in this whole meeting. Zero. It's not a shot at you. It's not a shot at anyone individually. It's a matter of not knowing before what you know now. That is all. I am asking that you put her back in school and reverse the expulsion. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I'd like to call Mr. Cousins, I guess that person, to give a statement for the school board investigation. Mr. Edmonds, or Mr. Edmonds.
Primarily, the administrative hearing is not the same standard as that of a formal trial. Student suffered no violation of her due process rights. Student had a fair hearing before school officials. School officials met the procedural requirements. All participants in the hearing were advised of their rights, including the Fifth Amendment. The decision to recommend expulsion was supported by the findings, and the findings were supported by the evidence. All relevant material evidence was produced or had an opportunity to be produced. All video evidence was viewed openly in the presence of all parties and counsel. The request for a review of the superintendent's decision because the hearing was conducted in such a manner that all the evidence was not presented at the hearing is entirely false. This opportunity was afforded several times, and the hearing was conducted following the letter of the law as evidenced by the transcripts and recordings. The student was given every opportunity to say what she wanted to say in the hearing. The student's representatives were allowed to submit evidence. The student was charged with assault and battery of a student. The student was asked in the presence of counsel if she had struck and hit the young man. I said young man, so I didn't want to say his name. While he was sitting in the seat of the bus. The student replied yes. In the presence of counsel, the student and parent responded affirmatively when asked if they had been treated fairly at the conclusion of the hearing.
Thank you, sir. At this time, we have a discussion of the,
We ask questions. Mr. Cook, there was allegations that they were asking questions to the principal and they were told to stop. Did that happen?
I did not tell anyone to stop it. We had counsel there for the school board. No.
Did someone tell them to stop asking questions?
I have to look at the transcript. I don't have the transcript. It's all in the transcript, though.
I saw that.
I think when I don't think I didn't get this told to stop asking questions. I think it was the type of questions. This was asking, and that's I just thought they kept saying that it was more of information.
I understand.
I don't think they was ever told to stop because that's the type of question that being presented.
earlier, we had time to read over it and talk with you. Yes. Talk about it.
We did receive this earlier.
Yes.
We've gone through, operated.
Yes.
So,
I had an opportunity to read. Counselor Tucker was superintendent getting questions and the video as well.
I don't think that attorneys presented the video that I witnessed and I saw from the transcript seemed to be a bit skewed. Yes, she is a victim. I agree with that. But if she had not hit the young man, we wouldn't be here today. Wouldn't have come to an expulsion hearing.
I know I ask this every time, but what we're deciding on right now is
Whether we want to overturn the superintendent's decision or hold it, amend it, or dismiss it.
and normally we can't take new evidence into our decision. Is that
This is what we use.
this is what we have to use? So everything that he just told us, we basically can't use to make our decision.
That's inaccurate. There's nothing authority to sign that transcript.
In a different wording, yeah.
So in the
But we go by, is what I'm saying, is we go by the transcript.
Correct.
So was the pictures? I'm trying to read this correctly. So the pictures was the pictures presented in the hearing? So did it have?
Yes. I have a copy of the student showing his phone on the bus. I introduced it at the hearing. If that's not in y'all's packet, y'all have been misled. It's got the naked pictures. They're thumbnails. I have the full one if you want to see it. But they're thumbnails of the naked pictures, and he is on the bus showing people. So that was
What you were
introduced.
saying also introduced.
I know the screenshots. Okay, then you. Those were screenshots of the video that, did you get the opportunity to watch the video?
Yes.
The young man who was walking around on the bus showing the video, pictures of people that was not the young man that was assaulted or got into an altercation with. That was a young man who struck that child previously and then walked around and went to each section of the bus showing everyone that this and then before everything else happened. So that was admitted. That was in the video. It was just a screenshot of that section blown up and we turned it into the packet. This is just a transcript. He submitted that image.
From the video.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
I feel like it's being misunderstood because is the document that I submitted at the hearing in y'all's packet? Because the document that I submitted is not the school bus camera. It is a student taking a picture on the bus, and it is Connor Bourne showing the picture. And I said the name, so it's okay. He is the one showing the naked images on the bus. And I introduced that. If y'all need a copy, because y'all haven't seen that, that is not something they have on a video. I want y'all to know.
Please reference on page 15.
So was the camera not on at that moment that we didn't capture that, or it was on?
What he's describing was also captured by the video viewers
Okay.
from a different angle from the student on it.
Any questions?
I know it's going to have that has a problem with this, but and the DA is not going to charge her. You know, I just have a problem with that. If the DA doesn't think this rises sufficient enough to have a battery charge, I don't know. I guess it's the lawyer in me.
It's not the old lawyer, Mr. LaFont, and she's not charging. There's a reason. It's very simple. Her images. She's the victim of a much bigger crime than that, and that nothing happened to that person, and that's okay. We're talking about her. A picture was generated of her. She's made fun of all day. It's a naked picture. After multiple attempts, she defends herself of a picture that he has right there that you can clearly see the kid showing once again of her in a position she was put in for the same administrator that put him on the same bus. It's not the old school lawyer. There's a reason your gut feels like that. This is unbelievable, truly. It's not about what's in there. Everything's in there. It's the same thing. It's very bare bones. It's not about due process. You know what it is.
I'm not introducing new evidence, but I would ask that you each take a look at this because this is what I put into evidence at the administrative hearing. I feel like it wasn't sent to y'all. Y'all are saying, oh, it was in the video on the bus. That's something different. I want you to see this.
Wait, we have to have a.
That's what we said.
What is your, your wishes? Did you want to see this? It's introducing new evidence?
Mr. Chairman, it says it's not.
Okay.
It's not new evidence.
It's not.
It was introduced at the hearing.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, I can't see this. What's that ball? That's the point.
Thank you for that opportunity to process the picture, to publish it.
Any other questions? Any other comments?
Did she ask to talk to her father and she couldn't make a call?
Is that the transcript?
She asked to
I'm
call,
trying to remember.
from what I've read in the transcript, she asked to call her father and he said, we're not calling parents at this time.
That's what I
Her
read.
phone was never taken. You know, they use their phones all the time. They could have called them later. Yeah, at that time, they said they weren't bringing parents into the investigation.
So we're listening and everything's valid, but we don't have like an opposing argument to this to be able to base on, right? So we only get like one-sided from them. We don't get, we got the statement from him. No, I'm understanding the statement from him, but like, and as far as the public goes, we're all hearing their attorneys. We're not hearing publicly. Right.
Ma'am, with all due respect, you shouldn't give me any more credence because I'm an attorney or not. That is their representative. You heard from him. That's their.
I did.
Right. So I just want to be clear. This is not about one's an attorney and one's not. That's who made the decision. You want to counter that? Let him counter you right now. Fire off questions at him. Ask away. Because that's the way I left the meeting as well. Going, you can't be serious. This is it. That was the response. You're not going to get anything else. But to say they don't have a response, that's disingenuous. That is their response.
This is not the place for that. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we can't. Yeah, this is not. We're not allowed to get into that.
You just gave a statement.
This is a question. I kind of feel like we don't hear anything from the SRO. Like did the SRO have a statement as well? Was that introduced? Like the findings? I mean, I know that when the principal handed it to the SRO, did the SRO come out with the information for
The
us?
principal, Ms. Babbitt, if I may, the principal was in the hearing and she spoke to the fact that the student spoke to the counselor, the student spoke to the SRO, the student spoke to members of her staff. And so there were many members of her staff who were aware of the allegations. Remember, in the transcript that is spoken about, Ms. Coriel speaks to, there were multiple students who were reporting multiple other students having engaged in this behavior. And even on the video that you watched, there were at least, I'm afraid to put a number to it, but well over half a dozen students who were circulating these photos amongst themselves all in the back of that bus. Unfortunately, this despicable behavior had become pervasive that particular day amongst many students. And her staff was trying to arrive at the origin and then how it got to be and where it went from there. And I'm not going to speak to the sheriff's office part of it, only Ms. Coriel and our staff's part of it.
The image was not created at school, correct? It was created.
I have not been given a clear account that anyone has determined where, when, or how the image was created.
For being said, there were a couple of people from out of the parish that had done it.
I have not.
I mean, I was in the transcript.
I have
yes.
not been presented with any evidence to determine who, when, or how any of the images were created.
If it happens somewhere else, then it is a law enforcement problem, not problem, but decision. And the thing that we're looking at is that it was being shown around the school by some other people.
And again, when presented to the principal, allegedly, because the student in question in the transcript says, I heard it was happening, but I don't know who has it or where it is right now. And so the limitations of the investigation were such that the lack of specificity and details hampered the investigation. And these are always difficult things to investigate because the right to privacy of students has to be married with, compared with the seriousness of the allegation and what we can do and what we cannot do. And that's why we do partner with the sheriff's office to lead us in these investigations, and we're thankful for that. There's a lot to be regretted about the circumstances in this case, to be sure.
In the origin of the manufacturing of the image has absolutely nothing to do with this. If the kid manufactured a bomb at his house and brought it to the school, it's not an off-duty sheriff's office deal, it's a school deal. What we do know is the image that you saw was on a bus. It's owned by the parish.
Right. I understand that. Now, I'm just saying that if it was created somewhere else and not on the school grounds, the thing that we're looking at as a board is what happened at the school, and that is passing the picture around, showing the picture. Correct? On the bus.
At
school.
Look, I will tell you, when this was presented to me, Mr. Cook didn't ultimately make this decision. I did. I'm not going to pretend to this board that Mr. Cook made this decision or let him stand here alone. I concur with this decision, to be clear. Sometimes in life we can be both victims and perpetrators. Sometimes in life horrible things happen to us and we get angry and we do things. The video you all watched, I don't think depicts what was described tonight. The video you all watched depicts something that is very difficult to defend.
I just want to say, and you know, Mr. Morton, I respect you a lot. What keeps playing on my mind a little bit, a lot, is that what she went through all day. And then did it reach a tipping point that afternoon, seeing the kid she thought was responsible, even though he may not have been responsible. And again, two other guys, that bothers me, getting two other guys involved to go beat him up. That bothers me a lot. But I'm also trying to think, and I'm always the one at expulsion hearings that come up with these things, you know. But I do have a problem with her facing everything she did all day, and all of a sudden she snaps. And it wasn't all of a sudden, because you could tell in the video they were planning it. She put her hair back. She was getting ready to think about it. And there's a lot of things in that video that I don't like. But I'm also trying to put into perspective what she went through all day. And as a young girl, and as a father, as a grandfather, I kind of wonder somewhat to what I would do. And of course, this is open. Normally we get into this much more heated when we're in executive session, especially by me, because I seem to ask a lot of the questions and expulsions. But I think if there's ever and what I don't want to condone, and what I don't want to come across, is that I don't want to condone that if you're perceived as a victim, that gives you the right to go beat up somebody. And I have a problem with that. And I do, Matt and Ben, I have a problem with that. But sometimes when I think of what you went through all day, maybe, and I know we have strict rules, and that if you do this, that you're expelled. If you're involved in a fight, you know, you're automatically suspended. You know, is this a situation maybe where we look at a suspension instead of an expulsion, where we can get her back in school? Her grades are suffering and pass. I don't want to see that happen. And I'm just throwing things out, guys.
You probably disagree with me, but I don't have any opinion here. You guys are the decision makers.
But I keep on thinking what she went through from all day that day, and then on the bus. And I do have a problem with what I saw on the bus, because it looked like she was getting some guys to help her out. I have a big problem with that. But I'm also trying to put it in context of what she went through all day.
I will leave you guys with this, or not say the word, put this in perspective. Put in perspective, imagine what she's going through and going to help multiple times, in the words of Mr. Martin, counselors, teachers, trying to call her dad, and nobody will help. Put that in perspective before you make your decision. Let that sink in. That's why we're here. I do have a problem with on the bus, fine. But when nobody else helps you, and you've gone to them for help, that is a different situation. Undisputable. In severity of crimes, like one's a victim, one's not, child pornography, what sentence is for that versus simple battery. But one's still in school. Right? Let that sink in.
They keep saying nobody helped her. What kind of help
What kind of help?
was she?
When you ask to call your father, and now what I'm understanding is she's supposed to violate school policy and use her own phone. When she goes to a guidance guy, you can look at me like that. That's exactly what just happened. This is
Mr. Gary, there is no policy against students using.
That's right. They have safe places that they can use phones.
Okay, well, wherever the safe place was,
And in the
but she went to the
her
counselor.
dad does call the school.
So evidently, he found out some kind of way. I'm just going by the transcript.
She went to the school, she went to the guidance counselor, she reported to a teacher, sheriff's office.
Right.
Nothing was done. We put her on the same bus. And now we're here expelling her.
That's what I'm saying. What help was she looking for? Just not to be put on the bus?
I don't know, someone to take the situation seriously and separate them. Stop. Just separate it. It's so different to look, I hate saying adult world, adult crime. Someone's accused of a crime. I might have a client that's accused of assaulting someone. We don't know if he's innocent or not. What we don't do is put him in the same run and say, hell, cage it out. Or better yet, the same person who claims she's assaulted. And then goes to the sheriff's office, they say, no, we don't believe you. All right, let me try this route. Nope, we don't believe you, but let's go put him in the same room. That's the point. That's what we're saying here. That's my point of going to help. If she doesn't do anything, doesn't say a word, it's a different story. She went to every avenue possible from the people that she trusts, guys. A knock on 6-1. Mr. Martin said, these things unfortunately happen. You can't predict them. I totally get that. I can see both sides of that fence, but now here we are. And I just had a 6-month-old daughter. Somebody does that to her? Wait, sitting here right now. We're way past that. It's me you're dealing with. It's not them. And it's in a wholly different manner. So I don't know what else. So she did exhaust every avenue possible. And unfortunately, that's where it landed. And it started again the second she got on the bus. Guys, please. Expelling her? What? This is not just one of those things. Like, this is life-changing events, man. You're just like, oh, well, I don't know if we got this one right or wrong. Let's expel her. No. This is a good student. She's not been a bad student. Just asking. Maybe make it a suspension and let her go back. We get it. I'm not asking for a pass. I'm asking to look at it both ways and to put yourself in her shoes. Unbeknownst to her, walks into a situation blindsided, getting made fun of all day from a naked image. She didn't send anybody. Whether it was made in China or here or there, what we know is it's shown all around the school and on the bus. And it's her. And her emotions, her state of mind. She had to deal with that. She went for help multiple times. She didn't get it. Why? I don't know. I really don't care. It's not relevant. It just is what it is now. How we end up on a bus. But to suggest she got 2 guys to go and we're offended, maybe. I'm more offended that she went to help multiple times but didn't get it.
In the transcript also, it says that she went to the office that morning and she was kind of joking about it. So, just as moral support. She didn't realize there were some pictures of her too.
You go in the morning and then all of a sudden it just builds all day. More pictures and more students. They come to the builds and it builds and builds and it builds. You know, I've been doing this for 46 years. And look, I've represented students, I've represented faculty before this board and before the hearing committee, before I was on the school board. And I know what is considered due process, and I think we do due process. But sometimes I think we have to think outside the box. You know, I came in here fully ready to vote to hold all this after what I saw on the bus. And then I listened to what you went through all day. You know, and it bothers me, guys. It does.
And my thing about the whole situation, I don't like that she's the only one that got to speak.
We don't know this. We can't know that. We can't know that. No. This is just on her actions. We cannot. We don't know. Neither does it. Okay, what are the, Ms. Tina?
I have to ask a question. I'm sorry, but my thing is that if by chance we would decide to amend the decision, could we say that we amend it with some kind of stipulations, such as maybe we do let her go back. However, we have some kind of a probationary period saying that, hey, if you find yourself in trouble, like, because we know that she has put her hands on someone, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm an educator, I've been in education for many years. That makes me very uncomfortable. You just don't touch other people, period. If it would that even be an option? Because it might not be an option. But if I wouldn't ask the question, I would feel very remiss when I walked away from the table.
No, you have the option, Ms. Babin, to do, again, you can overturn it You can amend it, you can uphold it.
So if we would discuss amending, we have the opportunity to put stipulations on it, is what I'm saying.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for clarifying that for me. As I said, I do not, and I know we've all said this, I found the video of the bus to be sickening. Like the whole thing, everything about it. But like you said, the fact that this child went through this all day long does weigh very heavy on me.
Any other questions? Any other comments?
Do we know at what point she found out it was a picture of her? Because like you said, in the morning she went with the two friends, not even knowing
It was her. No, we don't. There's nowhere in the transcript that I found that what point of the day
right
did she find it?
When we get the present action or a school's concerned, what is the protocol for an expulsion for a student that's been placed on online learning? What is the timeline? What is in place present?
I'm not speaking to this particular case. In general, as a student, if you were expelled from school for some non-drug related offense, the standard procedure is an 89-day expulsion with a return to school after 45 days. And the remaining 44 days, because we have actually 89-day semesters, not 90, will be on a probationary basis. If you are expelled from school for 89 days, you would spend 45 days either at home learning online, or you would be at the alternative site learning there. And at the end of the 45-day period, you would then return to your base school on a probationary basis. That's not necessarily what happened in this case, just speaking in general terms of what would happen for a student expelled for a non-drug related case.
And what are the other implications for the duration of the expulsion time frame? Because it is a year to the date of.
No, sir. No, sir. Most of our expulsions are actually not year to the date. Well, most of our expulsions are 89 days. So the event happens, as an example, on September 1. At the end of 90 days, your expulsion is over, in that you are no longer on probation. At the end of 45 days, you return to your school. In many cases, our students return back to their school in 2 months' time.
So any restrictions on participation in activities?
Great question. For the entirety of the 89 days, as an expelled student, even when you return on probation, you're not allowed to participate in sports, go to dances, extracurricular activities. The only allowed participation would be to go to school and go to class. If you were a member of the football team, as an example, you could not do that until the expulsion term has been completed. And of course, many schools have additional things that take place, such as being expelled, you'd be removed from that program for that year.
So at this time, looking at this particular case, how many days are we in file?
Is Brandon, am I allowed to? Yes. Okay. Do you all have any objection to having this discussion? No. Okay. Sure. So we were approaching the 45th day, I believe, in about a week. Is that right, Mr. Cook? The 45th day has already passed. She would have been returned back to her base school, but as said by counsel, she failed to complete the work at the alternative school. So the alternative school has notified her and her family that she will remain at the alternative school until the full 90 days is served, but to complete the work while she is assigned the alternative school.
You didn't meet the threshold to return in the 45-day with probation to the 89-day.
A lack of completing the work formally, yes, sir.
had she completed the work, she would already be passed.
None of that is the point. None of that is the point. That are the facts of this case. She didn't complete the work because she's now in a completely different environment. She wasn't struggling before. She's struggling now because she got expelled. And I knew that's what was going to happen here. We're going to look at timelines and say, oh, look, keep it up. Good. We're all good.
because she'd come back anyway, but not so fast. You pulled a child out of the environment that she was in. She's struggling. That's why we want to come back. But I knew that would be the outcome.
And it was because of severe depression that she had.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, I'm sorry. The severe depression that she had, she missed when she went straight into PATS. She is doing much better now in PATS. But unfortunately, the coursework that she missed in the initial PATS environment, that she was depressed because the picture's still eating at her, that's why she was delayed. She is doing much better. Grades picked up. So I hate for you to say, oh, well, she didn't do what she was supposed to do, so she just got spit out. That was still an acute time period when she was initially into PATS.
So this was on November 5th, and on November 13th, the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office and the school board, they come out with a joint statement. And I'm going to read to you this joint statement because it's a little different than what you just heard. Lafourche Parish Sheriff Craig Weber and Lafourche Parish School Superintendent Jared Martin are providing more information on an incident at 6th Ward Middle School in an attempt to correct rumors and misinformation. On August 26th of 2025, female students reported concerns to a school counselor about the possible existence of artificially made nude images of students, deepfakes, which were rumored to have been shared among students. 6th Ward Elementary School administrators and LPSO school resource officers began an immediate investigation. Consistent with established policy, several students were interviewed and parents were contacted during the course of the day regarding the allegations. Despite everyone's best effort, by the end of the school day, investigators had not been successful in locating any image or any evidence of the existence of the images. Given there was no indication of the potential for physical violence, it was correctly decided the investigation would resume the following morning. Man, I'll take that in a second. Similarly, based on information that had been obtained up to that point, officials had no reason to consider delaying normal dismissal. Now, I'm going to say, from my viewpoint, that's bullshit. I'm going to say that if you're too dumb to realize you've got one girl saying child pornography of her is being distributed, deepfake or not, it looks exactly like her. When you got a girl saying that, you're telling me you didn't see any reason to keep her off the bus with the guy that was doing it? Really? I'll move on. After dismissal, an altercation occurred on the school bus involving 4 students, including a female and one of the male students who had reportedly been sharing the images. A student recorded video of the incident, which depicted 3 students, 2 male, 1 female. That was the 2 boys I told you that kind of came to her defense. Striking a male student multiple times was posted on Facebook. The overwhelming social media sentiment was one of outrage and demanded the students involved in the fight be held accountable. Yeah, that's before they knew the circumstances, folks. In response to the video, LPSO school resource officers and juvenile detectives worked to obtain statements and obtain search warrants for phones and social media accounts. It was during this aspect of the investigation that a juvenile detective and school resource officers discovered AI-generated nude images of eight female students and 2 adults. So they had also generated deepfakes of 2 teachers, incidentally. The focus of the criminal investigation then pivoted to the creation and dissemination of the pornographic images. As previously reported, thus far, 1 male has been criminally charged. The investigation is continuing and additional charges against a second individual are possible. While both agencies are investigating the same incidents, it should be noted that each has their own unique scope of authority and are held to a different legal standard. The Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office investigations are directed to determining whether violations of law are criminal in nature. The Lafourche Parish School District is investigating these incidents as violations of school rules and policies, which, if violated, are subject to administrative sanction. In investigations involving school incidents, criminal charges can, but do not necessarily play a factor in disciplinary action. Regardless, both public agencies are committed to protecting the privacy and legal rights of children involved. And that was the statement. So now we know, after that came out, there were actually 8 different middle school students who had deep fake images of them produced, and 2 teachers. Yet this girl at this time was still expelled. At what point, y'all, does common sense play into things? I understand they have a policy that, hey, it's automatic expulsion if there's a fight on the bus, and there was indeed a fight on the bus. And so we don't look at anything else except for that was a violation of policy, and the answer to that is to expel. However, has anybody ever heard of the totality of circumstances? How about a little common freaking sense? But you got to take everything into play here. Whose fault is it that that fight occurred at the end of the day? It's the school's fault. They put them on the bus. You don't put 2 people that have an issue with each other to that extent on the same bus. They should have let her call her daddy and her daddy pick her up, truth be told. Or her mama. Ridiculous. So what happened in this case? What is the resolution? Well, the 13-year-old girl, she's back in regular school now, and she's attempting to adjust back into regular school. And this case has actually resulted in some positive policy changes. They haven't detailed what those changes are, but I'm told they're positive. And currently her family is holding the school accountable for the actions following this by moving forward with a federal lawsuit, which they should do. Look, these schools ain't going to learn anything unless they get hit in their pocketbook. That's the bottom line. And with the stupidity that occurred here, I'm sorry. I think there were some dumb mistakes made. Somebody's got to pay for that. And the best way to make a school pay for it is through their budget. The whole point of this one, technology, y'all, is running wild. Running wild. You can make pictures right now of you totally naked that look just like you, and there is almost no way to tell the difference. So be wary out there of that. AI does some really good things as far as productivity is concerned for people, but can also do a lot of evil things. One of those is this right here, deepfakes. You can't even believe your own eyes anymore. So be careful of that. I'll keep you posted on this one quickly. A lot of people have been asking me for months and months and months, Jim, you need to get t-shirts made that we can purchase, things like that, hoodies. You know what? I listened to you. I made it happen. As a matter of fact, I had a Black Friday sale just this past week. Put a bunch of things on sale for that, but my sales just don't end with Black Friday. I'm gonna have some Christmas sales as well. My Patreon members will get those first, and then I will offer those up to everybody. And speaking of Patreon, if you'd like to check us out, help support the show, please go to Patreon. We offer a lot of benefits, one of those being commercial-free early releases, another being bonus episodes, and we even do quarterly gifts for our top-tier Patreon members. That's patreon.com/exposedpodcastfiles. Thank you so much. I love each and every one of you. Could not do this show without you. And until next time, for Exposed, Scandalous Files of the Elite, I'm your host, Jim Chapman. Much love.